So now we have real-time communication between clients and a backend. Perfect. But we need to know why. Well, let's try and just start by getting an idea about how we actually set this up. Why do we even start communicating? Well, the way we do it is we actually send a good old HTTP request to the backend. We say, dear backend, I would like to do some socket communication with you. And the backend says, well, okay, I like you, you're a good guy. I'll open up a connection between us two. So they'll make this, you'll subscribe kinda to this WebSocket, and the backend knows now that we can communicate together, you and I, through a secure tunnel, right? And then we can start just sending messages through this tunnel to communicate. Until the point where one of us says, well, we're not going to talk anymore, so let's disconnect. So that's perfectly fine, but isn't there a way for the backend to see who's actually listening right now, who's actually subscribing to me right now? And yes, there is. Let's try and look at that this lesson right here. I'll go all the way to the backend code, and we're going to implement a couple of interfaces right here. The first interface that I want to implement is the one called onGatewayConnection, and the other one is onGatewayDisconnect, right? Those two interfaces right there is going to help us know who is connected and who is being disconnected from the server right now. When we have these two interfaces, we have to kind of import or implement a couple of members right here. Handle connection, handle disconnection. And with this, we can actually start looking at who is connecting and who is disconnecting in our system. Pretty neat. Let's try and see what we're getting right here from this connection, disconnection right here. I'm just going to do a console log, very simple right here. And I'm just going to print the client right here just to see what's actually going on. I'm also going to add a little string right here just to say what I'm actually doing. So this is the client connects. And there we go. Now we can see when a client is actually connecting. And I'll do the same for the client disconnect right here. Client disconnect. There we go. Now notice the client already connected right here, and it's kind of hard to see who it is because we have so much information right here. What I want to kind of see is just the ID for now. So I'll say client and I'll say .id, and I'll get an ID for the client. So let's just try and do that. .id right here, and let's see what happens. And the same for this guy, .id. And now I can see that I have two clients connected right now. So each of these clients sent an HTTP request and asked to be connected. And I sent a reply back saying, yeah, welcome to the system. Now, if I refresh the page right here, if I go in here and I kind of go away from chats like this, instead of staying in chats, I should disconnect. I get an error right here, but that's actually an error from Safari. So just disregard that for now. If I go back to the backend, notice it's actually disconnected now. And this was the client I was talking about. So this is a pretty neat way if you want to know who's connected and who's not connected right now. You can just save the clients that just connected or disconnected. And again, let's try and go back and actually disconnect the other guy as well right here. Yoinks, there we go. Now he's also disconnected, and now I shouldn't have any connections at all. Now that's all fine and dandy, and we're happy, but there is a small thing. Even though we're disconnected here, I'm not sure that we are safe with our chat component. So next lesson, we're going to learn something about onDestroy and how to make sure that our listeners are completely disconnected so we are not subscribing anymore. That's it for this lesson. Now you learned a little bit about how you can listen for connection, and you can use that, of course, to kind of know what users are online right now, and we'll end the lesson right there. See you next time. Bye.